So yeah, I was just thinking about purpose and what it. I love my fucking colic there. Purpose and what it is and how individuals define it differently. You know, like I made a post about it on social media a couple days ago, and this dude that we're friends. I don't even know how we became friends, because most of the time, if he comments at all on any of my stuff, it's only when he wants to be negative, which that's always out there and whatever. And I don't hate the guy. He's a smart guy. We just differ on opinions on certain things. But he had the strangest suggestion to me when I was talking about, like, what is my purpose? Like, I've gone, had astrology readings, human design readings, tarot, whatever. Just wanting to understand. I think it's a question a lot of people ask, and it's something I was watching Mike on Quantum of Conscious. What are you whining about, girl? Huh? What? I don't see nothing. Oh, there's the jackrabbit. That's it. Anyway, Quantum of Conscious this morning, and he's always been dialed in. He's one of the few, in truth or conspiracy, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I don't know. But guys that gets it, that a lot of them say it, like we know we're here to learn something and to, what's the word I'm looking for? There's like a lesson we have to learn to get out of this place and not come back. If you believe the Howdy Mikowski kind of thinking that, in the reincarnation thing, which I do. I think that, that's all part of the family trauma thing that we're trying to break. But so anyway, I'm listening to him, and so much rings true. And I hate to, just repeat what other people are saying. But that's what most of us do all the time. Like, I remember asking a friend one time, is anything new under the sun? Any thought, any idea, is any of it fucking new? And his answer was no, and he's right. I don't think there is. I mean, we all have individual interpretations of the idea, but I don't think it's a new idea. So anyway, where was I going with Quantum of Conscious? Oh, talking about how everything's a psyop, even the truth community stuff. We get into all this thinking we found the nugget, we found the answer, and it's been put there for us to find on purpose. He's 100% right. And that's in with everything. And I don't know. For some reason, this was weighing on me today too, and I don't know why. Just thinking about friends I made in the community, the truth community or whatever, whatever you want to call it, that all of a sudden have just like disappeared, dropped off the radar, don't talk to them anymore. And I don't recall doing anything. I mean, I say a lot of shit that people are just like, you're fucking retarded. And I am to some degree, I certainly don't think of myself as intelligent or having any answers, but it seems like in a lot of cases, if you're not into the tribes, like there's so much tribalism in it that it's fucking crazy. Like, if you don't believe this thing, then, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And, I've got to disassociate with you or whatever. Or if you don't believe I have the answers to all this, then, fuck you, whatever. I'm not going to deal with you. But then there's also like, back to the purpose thing. So these thoughts are, tarot, which I don't know that I've had a tarot reading yet that has really felt like it all felt like bullshit, and not to say that's not a casting aspersions on anybody that's given me a tarot reading. It just never felt real. Astrology to some degree, I mean, I believe in it 100%. there's the sky clock, it runs the world, you know, it's astrotheology, all that shit. But, you know, I've had a couple that have been so-so, and it's like people trying too hard to tell you what you want to hear or what they think you want to hear. Same with the tarot for sure. But the human design stuff seems to resonate. And still trying to sift through that. What is my purpose? Oh, back to the guy. See, I can't keep a story straight, like a straight line of thought. So back to the guy that I don't necessarily get along with. He's not a bad guy, but his suggestion to me was lift weights. Okay, I get the point behind that, you know, exercise gets, you know, generates endorphins, you know, it's not the right word. But I understand how it works. It feeds your system, it gives you, you know, like energy. And and I was like, yeah, I do that. I work out a couple times a week, nothing strenuous, whatever, you know, I just do kettlebells, a couple different exercises, you know, like 3 per day when I work out. I was like, but it doesn't really do anything for me. It's not giving me a purpose. It's like, yeah, you need to work out, you need to be strong, you need to be in shape, whatever. Then the answer was, well, go running. There you'll find your purpose. Now, for some people, yeah, that's going to be finding, maybe they find purpose in that. Maybe when you're running, all the answers come to you, whatever. But it's what kills me about with everything, with every answer people have, that because it worked for them, like that's supposed to be the solution for everybody, which we all know isn't the case. But when it affects you in such a way, maybe it did give him purpose and did give him all the answers, and you know, or at least led him towards the answers. Maybe when you're running, you know, you're thinking, you're not taking in anything other than the nature that surrounds you. If you're in nature, I mean, if you're in a city, you're taking in, you know, all sorts of threat triggers and everything else. But so I can see where that's gonna, you know, maybe you can find your purpose through that. But I think, you know, or other people with God, you know, find Jesus, find God. And I'm all about that. I mean, there's something for sure that has designed this place. The fucking Big Bang Theory and all that bullshit is, anybody who still believes that, I mean, I remember one of my best friends, I was religious as a kid, and he was saying, you know, Jay, how can God exist? You know, this is, you know, and pointing at all the things that atheists do. And at the time when I was 19, 20, whatever age I was, it seemed to make sense to me because I was that rebellious kid, you know, and you're just like, yeah, that's fucking bullshit. You know, there's no fucking God. It's imaginary. Well, the Big Bang's fucking imaginary. So, I mean, somebody thought of it. It's a theory. Everything that we supposedly operate on now, it's all theory. None of it has been proven. And I'm not saying anything, any of, you know, my friends that are in the truther community or wherever, you know, you all know way more about this than I do, but it's just something designed this. Whether we're in a matrix, whether it's God, you know, whatever it is, it was designed by something. It didn't just fucking appear out of nowhere. But, sorry, I'm seeing my goat out there. Whenever the goats start staring in some direction, I always have to go out and check and make sure there's not a predator, or, you know, even snakes. They'll see a rattlesnake going by and they're not fucking dumb. They're like, oh, we want to back away from that thing. So anyway, what is our purpose? What is your purpose? Like, some people think about it as work. Like I know for a long time that was kind of my fuel and but that goes into my human design too. And I talked about this a little bit on the last recording I did, where it served my needs, my human design needs so much of what I need and what I should be doing, that it felt like a purpose. But the purpose isn't to be serving a corporation. I mean, that's not what any of us are here to do, right? But helping people, that being needed, being required. Like I don't have a family. You know, never got married for a multitude of reasons, mostly because of the lack of faith in myself. But, you know, having kids, how, you know, I can't imagine. I have tons of friends with kids, and just to have that experience and that responsibility, I mean, that changes everything too, right? Like when you're single and 53, it's a lot harder to find purpose, especially when you hate corporate America and that's your job you go to every day. And especially me, the industry I work in is one of the worst ever. I think I mentioned that last time too, but but I don't really have a choice, and we all say that, and to some degree it's true. You know, I was just listening to another friend of mine that does one of the best, I say friend loosely, like we don't hang out, I've hung out a couple times with him, met him in person a couple times, but he's a great dude, does one of the best fucking shows on the internet, and gets by doing it, but he's not making money like he should be. I mean, the guy puts in so much fucking work. And I sit there and I'm listening to him. He's just explaining the situation about how difficult it is. And it's hard for me. I used to be in a position where I could support him, give him a monthly subscription fee or whatever, and I'm not in a place to do that anymore. And I see so many other, you know, I have a lot of very creative, talented friends that do, you know, they do stuff like tarot, astrology, human design, whatever it is, TRE for my friend Leela. It's so hard to convince people, or not convince isn't the right word. People don't want to spend money on that type of stuff. And especially some of them, the way they structure, and this isn't a knock on anybody in particular, but I think it's why Adam Curry came up with the value for value model is, you know, whenever you're setting up tiers and doing stuff like that, a lot of skeptical people like me are just like, this just seems like a scheme. You know, like they're trying to, whether they find value in it or not, at some point, when they initially see that, and here's what your options are for subscriptions, or, you know, we can do this, you know, 3-month plan of this or 6 months of that, whatever it may be, people look at it and they're just like, then it feels like a business, right? It feels like a corporation trying to sell them something. And it's just hard. It's fucking hard, you know, and I get it. People need to make a living. I'm not criticizing any of them. However you can make a buck, I'm all for it. And I've supported a lot of people that do that kind of thing when I had the funds to do so. But I'm trying to think of, you know, everybody talks about creating parallel systems and all that. And I get it when it comes to barter. There's, you know, everybody can work together. You do this, I do that. But in today's society, it's still so hard to do that because everybody needs the dollar at some end to pay their mortgage, pay their rent, pay their fucking car payment, insurance, whatever it may be. So you're still asking people to trade what they're, you know, like the way I equate it, like I'm fucking having the life sucked out of me for 8 hours a day, you know, for whatever an hour I make, you know. And I'm like, well, for one, I don't have the extra additional expendable revenue I used to, but someone has to sit there and think, okay, can I spend this? And some people can and some people can't, whatever. And people are, you know, I have friends that make decent money doing what they're doing, and that's great. But I just wonder when the whole thing is gonna, you know, come to an end. Like the whole, another friend of mine once said, like, if we're all supporting each other in this way, all we're doing is trading the same $5 back and forth, or 20, or what, you know what I mean? So we're not really building anything, and we're just getting our portion of what, you know, from the other people that we support or help or guide or coach or whatever term you want to use. But we're just getting that from them to put to use for us. We're not building anything structurally that's going to sustain everybody. And that's something that fucking really, you know, it sounds like communist, which I'm not communist at all, or socialist. You know, I'm more of an anarchist, but like the system we have, it clearly is failing, right? Like, and it's not just due to inflation. People are going to sit there, you know, that's the thing that drives me the most nuts of everything in our society. That if people, I feel like if people could really come to grips with it, things would change really quick, but they don't. They just, you get caught in that silo of left wing, right wing, whatever. And, you know, all my neighbors out here, I love them all. All but one are fucking staunch Trump, hardcore Republicans. And I'm fine. You know, I like what the guy said he was going to do, but he didn't do any of that. And all this inflation is blamed. It's his fault. He's the one that printed the fucking most money in the history of the fucking country. But that just, you know, cognitive dissonance sets in, and they're like, well, no, he's my guy. It's not, it's Biden's fault. And Biden's a fucking piece of shit, fuck up too, whatever. But, you know, so instead of realizing, oh no, this guy, and they're all on the same team, by the way. I know most people that I think may watch some of this know that, but you can even, you know, bang your head up against the wall. And that's the other thing that drives me nuts. And I've been there too and gave up, where people are like, just, you can't try to convince anybody. You're not going to change them. And for the most part, that's right. Yeah, because, you know, that same friend of mine, that Steve, that does the best show in the fucking world on internet, you know, podcasts, one of my favorites anyway. You know, I remember during COVID, it was December of, I think it was 2020, because it was still, everything was fucking locked down. And he was coming to Boulder to have a rally for Assange, which I now think is kind of a psyop. He'll hate to hear me say that, but I think Assange is just put out there as an example. Like, that's all they wanted him to be. You know, they prove their point. They're going to scare anybody that, you know, wants to try and spread truth and release information that was given to him. I mean, he didn't steal it. He didn't go get it. It was given to him. But anyway, so he's like, hey, Jay, I'm going to be in town, you know, come up to Boulder, and, you know, we're doing a little rally for Assange, then we'll get some lunch or whatever, and Charlie Robinson's going to be there. And I had just started listening to Charlie at that point. I didn't really know who he was before then, but I'm like, okay. So I went out there, fucking cold ass, you know, like 20-degree day in Boulder, which is usually not that cold in Denver, Boulder. You know, most winter days are 30s, 40s. But it was cold. Go out there. We're just standing on the corner. There's like 10 people. It's like not really much of a rally, but it's, you know, whatever. It was what it was. So then they're like, well, let's go eat at this place, whatever, have lunch. I was like, okay, and we go to this restaurant. It's fucking, you know, most people can look at it now and realize how dumb everything about COVID was, but we were at the time, you know, hating all of it and knowing it's all bullshit, it's all fake. None of the fucking, you know, things they had in place to try and slow the spread or to protect you, none of that was fucking real. It was all just bullshit. But so we go to this place and it's an outside fucking tent, you know, dome tent with a space heater in there, a table for like 8 of us. So we're sitting in there, but the point of the story was, I remember at that time telling Steve, I was like, I don't remember how it even came up. He said something and I was like, you know, the only way we're gonna fucking win this is if we can hack the networks and take over TV, because that's, people just are programmed by their TV. And he just like starts looking around and he's like, and he's had his fair amount of shit where, you know, they're probably watching him and he's like, oh, now they're really going to be coming for us, you know. And anyway, sat there, ate, and, you know, then I remember, it's funny because listening to Charlie like a month later on his show, he was talking about, he was recalling that event and saying, we're out there, everybody's having a good time, we're not wearing masks, we're in this fucking dumb tent. I walk in to use the bathroom, there's nobody fucking in there, and they asked me to put a mask on, and Charlie's like, I fucking lost it. Like, are you fucking kidding me? But that's what the whole thing was. But anyway, the point of the whole thing was, recalling that story, is that that's really what it needs to be. Like, I love the podcast community and everything, but it's like we have to just break in and hack everything where nobody hears the bullshit anymore. All you hear is like, you know, there should be just one channel on the TV that's just a conglomeration of all these great podcasts and researchers and people that are telling you the truth, going, where that's pounded into people's brains to the point where they don't even want to hear it anymore and they just want to go outside and make a better community, build better systems, and realize that everything we're doing now is fucking nonsense. So sometimes I feel like that's my purpose, and then I was thinking about it the other day. I don't even remember what I was listening to or watching, and I'm like, there should be, I think it was when Steve, when he was talking, and I was like, this guy deserves to make more money. And all of them. I know a ton of podcasters that these people, they need to be making fucking actor money, not these fucking pieces of shit that are, half of them are pedophiles, they're all fucking Satanists, not all of them, right? But they're just not good people. And they're getting the majority of them. Again, not every fucking single one, but you know what I mean? The whole Hollywood system is corrupt, I will say evil for the most part, and they're making all the fucking money, but I guess that's the way good and evil works, right? Like, the good people are always going to struggle. And when I say struggle, it's just, they're not, that may not even be the right word. What's the word I'm looking for? It's like, they're just not given all that excess that they don't need. They have exactly what they need. They're given it. They're taken care for. Maybe not to the degree they'd like. But they can live with themselves. But those people should be living a lot better than a lot of them are. And they should be able to have that excess that all these fucking Hollywood people have, that they give to bullshit charities, when the people I'm talking about would actually use it in a good way to help individuals or righteous causes, not donating to these fucking charities that steal 90% of the money, you know, and don't really help people. Anyway, I didn't really get to where I wanted to go. That's why eventually I've got to do a few of these rambling by myself before I start inviting people on that can go through these discussions with me. Because it's not like, again, I'm just asking questions. I have some definite opinions about shit, but I know absolutely nothing. And every day I am more and more amazed and more perplexed about this thing that we live in. Like, it is back to Quantum of Conscious. If you haven't watched that show, check him out because the dude's onto shit. But yeah, it's just like we're here to get through a test, to level up, to get beyond something. And this entire place we're in is designed to keep us spending as little time on that task and as much time with minutia and bullshit as possible, that many of us will never get there. We'll never level up, and we'll be back repeating the same fucking cycles again, because the system is designed in a way to keep us just nose to the grindstone, buy more stuff, work harder, put in overtime, get a second job, work 3 jobs, do whatever you have to do to obtain a certain level of status and comfort. And for some, it's not even that. It's just to fucking exist, just to pay to exist on the planet or the simulation or whatever the fuck it is. You're spending so much time on that, and all the distractions, the movies, which are fucking programming you, the TV, which is programming you. All of it is designed to keep you away from the goal, which is to level up. Which is what I'm trying to do, because I don't want to come back to this shit. I really don't. So anyway, in the future, we'll be getting friends on to talk about that, and hopefully ones, I have many that have already guided me a lot, but to help work that. And I think talking about it, even those who know, or no isn't the right word, even those that have studied more than I, they like to talk about it. And even if they're giving advice or giving their opinion on something, they're still thinking through it at the same time too, and they're coming to realizations. So I think it's beneficial for everyone to just have these kind of discussions. And I don't know, maybe not. We'll see. Anyway, later.